Now, you'd think that anyone who genuinely cares about the environment would be absolutely thrilled about the fact that 2/3 of the Great Barrier Reef have shown the largest amount of coral cover in 36 years. Surely they would be happy about this outcome after all the doom and gloom predictions of the reef dying. But no, the media is desperately looking for any reason to present this as bad news. They're even fact-checking memes, mocking the persistently wrong climate predictions we've all seen over the past 20 to 30 years. I retweeted this meme and posted it on Instagram with this simple question: have the climate catastrophists ever got a prediction right? Well, you would not believe what happened next. I got this absurd fact check inverted commas, claiming the meme appears to downplay the damage climate change can cause coral reefs by comparing two tweets. Of course, this activist article posing as a fact check did not have a byline. The cowards pushing this nonsense just want to scare the social media sites to not even allow any dissent, not even if it's a joke. So let's get a man who is an actual scientist and who puts his name to his work. He's a marine physicist and author, Peter Ridd. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Tell me, what's your reaction to the media reporting of the data from the official long-term monitoring program of the reef showing massive growth in coral cover?
Well, that wasn't a fact check, that was a fact twist. And really all they said when you actually read it is you've just got to believe the experts. The experts still say that the reef is doomed. And the reason that they sort of managed to get to was because now we've got too much this supposedly fast-growing corals that takes 5 to 10 years to grow. And they sort of ignore the fact that they've been telling us we've had 4 massive bleaching events in the last 6 years. And this is the sort of coral that's grown back, and that now, because we've got too much of this coral, we're now even more susceptible to the climate change like we've had in the last 5 or 6 years. So there's a sort of circular argument here that just doesn't work at all.
Now, in this so-called fact check, do you worry about the amount of censorship on social media sites that can't even cope with memes reminding them of their comically wrong predictions? I mean, is this really a healthy environment for such an important issue? You can't even make a joke about predictions that have proved to be so spectacularly wrong.
It's completely typical. I've been fact-checked probably 3 or 4 times by Australian Associated Press, and they always come to the same conclusion that the reef is doomed, despite the fact that, saying 2012, they were saying that the coral cover was going to go even further from what it was there. And instead of going up to about 2 to 3 times more than we had in 2012, instead of going down, it's actually gone up by 2 to 3 times. So, as you say, they've been proven to be wrong again and again and again, and these fact checks are just a form of trying to cover up for the dodgy predictions they've made in the past.
What's essentially gaslighting? It is calling these activist pieces fact checks is so incredibly misleading. And I think, you know, the fact that sometimes they don't even have a byline, I mean, that is just pure cowardice, particularly if they're fact-checking someone with your credentials, a scientist, and you've got some activist journo who's fact-checking your work. Now, you did some real fact-checks of some of the flawed models used by climate scientists, and what happened to you is not going to encourage other scientists to call out mistakes and flawed reasoning, is it?
No, that's right. But what I think you're seeing here is desperation. You know, we've got record high coral cover. So now they are utterly desperate. What on earth are we going to do? So all they can do is appeal to authority and say, people like you and I must be wrong, even though we've got record high coral cover. Just believe the experts that despite record high coral cover, it's really, really bad. So they're utterly desperate at the moment. And we've got 1 year where we're going to have record high coral cover. Remember, next year it'll probably go down. You know, we'll have a cyclone and we'll lose a bit of coral. Yes. So we've got 1 year to make the most of this, in fact.
Yes, exactly. We're going to have all sorts of bad news in the years to come, and that will be conclusive proof. Evidence to the contrary, you dismiss any... I mean, it is ridiculous. Peter Ridd, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you.